want to take you on a journey into a new space tonight, a space that's in many ways uncomfortable, mysterious, and very much a part of every one of our stories. My own story, my trajectory as I like to think about it, led me here, and I want to share with you how. Have you ever found yourself in a place that just captivated you? Among people who thought and spoke in words and ideas that shined, sparkling, and novel? That was where I was in 2016 as a postdoc at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Though my research was focused on the space environment and phenomena like these, the Northern Lights, I quickly learned that insight and discovery depended on connecting dots across many disciplines. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to know how to connect the dots. So I turned to the masters, everyone around me at JPL. Everywhere I looked there, the people that were breaking through in their fields seemed not to have any fields at all. It seemed to me that they found this liminal space through a culture of openness and curiosity. Everyone just wanted to discover, and they were all open to talk about any wild ideas at any time. So I started organizing coffee dates every single morning, one-on-one, freewheeling conversations with people that I admired and that had stepped outside of what I perceived to be normal boundaries. I learned from those conversations, like for instance with the JPL chief data scientist and now someone who's a dear friend, Chris Mattman, that everyone has a trajectory. And the pivotal moments in those trajectories are those that lead outside of the boundaries that normally guide our thinking. 2 years of these conversations led to profound and delicious knowledge about connecting the dots. I started to think of this space as antidisciplinary, not against fields, but as the very space between and crossing through them. For me, antidisciplinary came to mean connection and relationship. And those felt more true to my experiences. Eventually, my time at JPL came to an end, and I moved on, all the way across the country to Vermont. But I held on to that insatiable curiosity for antidisciplinary spaces. So I started the Origins podcast to be a forum to continue these freewheeling conversations. In those conversations, I became a student of the art of exploring trajectories in the pivotal moments when someone stepped outside of some limit or boundary, when they moved into a new space. This art, this beginner's mind that is required to be antidisciplinary, is what I am learning and what I want to share with you. It's a sensibility that means everything in the world that we find ourselves in. I think the art is guided by 3 principles. First, learn from the masters. Find the people that are doing what you want to be doing and study them. Chris Mattman was moving between disciplines the way that I wanted to be. Build a network of these people and surround yourselves with them. You end up being the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Being a student of these people taught me one of the greatest principles, and that is to think in questions and search for the question. Thinking in questions is a mindset shift. It acknowledges our own not knowing and inadequacy, not as a bad thing to be avoided, but as a landscape for creation. Questions assume that your own silence will follow. And that leads to the final principle. Explore the art of the conversation. Learn to hear genuinely. And there's a generosity in this, that is not just about what you're going to say next, but being in a flow of conversation with others. Through these principles, you can learn to see and embrace connection. Think about the last time you were transported by something that you read or did. What was it that moved you, that shook you free of yourself and all the things that you have on your to-do list? In my preparations for these Origins conversations, the constellating of ideas and thinking in questions is what transports me. Those are the times that I'm at most generative and connected, and I'm willing to bet that you can trace your inspiration in some way to connection. The problem is that being between disciplines is not easy. It's scary and uncomfortable, and we don't have words for it, so we feel inadequate there. But the thing is that this discomfort is our work. It's how we know something is meaningful. This work means everything when we think of what's at stake. Transformation of ourselves, of our science, of our society. So how do you do it? What do these practices look like in your life? We find ourselves here, and how we grow beyond this will look completely different to you than it does to me. But your own trajectory and the pivotal moments in it is how you will become antidisciplinary. Maybe you find it by hosting dinner parties or book clubs. Maybe you organize a new model of seminar, one based on conversation rather than presentation. Whatever it is, let it be guided by learning from the masters thinking in questions, and in having conversations.